Screp 43 Sony's PSVR2 is finally here. How different is it from the PSVR? After months of waiting and waiting, we finally have our hands on the newest name in the VR headset industry thanks to Sony. The PSVR2 is finally here, but is the new VR headset actually worth it? For that, we need to know the difference between the PSVR and the PSVR2. But luckily, you are watching Lit Technology, the best place to go to when learning about the latest in the tech world. If you want more videos like this, smash that subscribe button. Anyway, in this video, we are taking a look at the main differences between the PSVR2 and its predecessor, the PSVR. Let us head on to the video now. Okay, the first main difference between the two VR headsets is that the PSVR2 is a lot less hassle to set up thanks to the single wire connection it has. The PSVR requires you to connect multiple wires and connections to the PS4. This causes the PSVR to have a lot of wires to be connected to the device, which can be super tedious, especially when you have nothing to see because your eyes are covered by the headset. It can cause a lot of accidents, and we really don't want that. But thanks to the single wire connection of the PSVR2, all you need is to plug one wire to the headset on one end and another one to the PS5's USB ports. It is not wireless, which would have been better, but we can't complain with this upgrade. The single wire connection means that there are features already integrated in the PS5, and one of those is the lack of need for an external camera. Before, the PSVR required you to have an extra camera in order to track player movement. Now this is great to track the movement, but it is super inaccurate and is limited in coverage. But with the PSVR2, there are 4 cameras that are integrated in the headset, which will improve player and controller tracking, which is a huge upgrade to the first version. And with the external camera comes the pass-through view, which I think is super important, especially if you don't want to hit anything inside your room. The PSVR was so reliant on the external camera that you were not able to see what was in front of you, a feature that almost every VR headset had. But again, with the PSVR2 headset cameras, you can take a quick glance of what is in front of you, ensuring that you are at the right place and not hitting anything on the way. No need to take off the headset or anything, as you can literally see what is in front of you thanks to one of the cameras. You know where your play space boundary is, and you can position yourself safely. And again, there are lesser cables to trip on this time, and overall, just lesser worries that you need to think about. You can move around, take a quick look at what's in front of you. Then it's that easy. Before I forget, because the number of wires is lesser. This means that the packaging will be smaller because the breakout box will be a lot smaller. The breakout box was basically the central hub to connect the external wires that come with the PSVR, which was great if you had a lot of wires. But personally, I would much rather have a single and simple wire to connect everything. It is easier to set up. PSVR will be much more streamlined and easier to set up, as you don't have to plug it to the console's USB and HDMI ports, which can be a hassle for a lot of people. Speaking of sensors, the PSVR2 comes with a built-in headset motor. For its current generation of hardware, Sony is all about haptic feedback. Thus, it should come as no surprise that the PSVR2 headset has a built-in motor to deliver vibration and other head-oriented stimuli. This will help the player feel more connected to what is happening on the screen. It remains to be seen whether every VR player enjoys their head vibrating, but it's a nice feature with the potential to increase immersion. And with the PSVR2, there should also come a new set of controllers to give users a better experience. PSVR2 replaces the PS Move controllers from the PSVR with something much more advanced. In fact, thanks to its tracking rings and thumbsticks, PSVR2's controller design and size should comfortably support practically any hand size and foster a higher degree of natural movement. The former of which allows the controller to recognize input without pushing any buttons by detecting the placement of the finger, while the latter should make point and click mobility less uncomfortable. Similar to the DualSense PS5 controllers, the PSVR2 controllers have adaptable triggers and haptic feedback. Another cool feature that they have added are air vents to help reduce fogginess in the lenses. This is especially important during long periods of gaming and you thought you were going blind, but in reality, it is just fogginess.
If you're looking for life insurance but don't want to have to take a medical exam, you may be wondering how much coverage you can get. The good news is that if you qualify for no medical exam life insurance, you can get up to $2 million in coverage. Please click link in description or call 888-405-4866.
And to combat this, Sony has added a nice ventilation system to the PSVR2 for you, the gamer, to cool down and reduce fogs. It is also super comfortable to play games when you are not sweating as much on your head and face. Now let us get on to features that will boost gameplay and immersion for the gamer. Not that the other features don't do that, but the following are directly to you. The first one is with eye tracking. Eye tracking technology in the PSVR2, which has only previously been available in prestige high-end machines despite being long anticipated to become mainstream technology, has the potential to provide entirely new gaming possibilities in order to detect exactly where the player is looking and render that very small picture area in high detail while blurring everything in their peripheral view. This will help boost the power of the CPU, but the eye tracking won't really do much to bring down the quality of the graphics, as the PSVR2 will come with an OLED HDR display with a surreal resolution of 2000 by 2040 pixels per eye. That is a lot better in comparison to the RGB OLED display of the PSVR, which only has a resolution of 960 by 1080 pixels. Almost double that. The PSVR2 resolutions will prevent poor screen quality along the edges, which was one of the main complaints of the PSVR, and it was super noticeable. But the PSVR2 will remove all of that and even upgrade on what was already great. Speaking of the edge of the screen, the PSVR2 will also have a wider field of view, or FOV. PSVR2's pixels will be stretched over 110 degrees as opposed to the PSVR's 100 degrees. This isn't a significant improvement, just a subtle shift that might only be noticeable if you compare the two headsets side by side. The 4 times sharper visual quality of the PSVR2 means that the pixels can be stretched over a broader field of view without causing any negative effects. Now, it is really clear that Sony is trying to do something to add immersion to their headset. Now let us talk more about the lens. For the PSVR2, Sony is going to be utilizing the Fresnel lenses, which is an upgrade that is welcomed by the community as it is the standard when it comes to VR headsets. Fresnel lenses, a relatively inexpensive component, are used to enlarge and sharpen images at the expense of glare and other potential artifacts. Another thing they added to the lens are the IPD adjustments, which stands for interpupillary distance. The headset can be adjusted in PSVR2 to fit the distance between the player's pupil centers thanks to the IPD adjustments. Adult's IPD is stable, but it may somewhat change based on what the eyes are looking at. By allowing for IPD lens modifications in the PSVR2 headset, Sony reduces the risk of decreased picture quality and eye comfort. The eye relief feature of the original PSVR is kept so that users who wear glasses can adjust the viewing distance between their eyes and lenses. With that already in mind, it is important to know that for now, the PSVR2 headsets can only be used for the PS%. It is important to say that because PSVR can be used for the PS4, PS4 Pro, and the PS5. And as Sony is trying to move on from the PS4, I don't think that it is likely that they are working on allowing the PSVR2 to be compatible with the PS4. But if the trend continues, I think that the PSVR2 can be used for the next version of the PlayStation. This brings us to probably the biggest change, and that is the price. I already mentioned a lot of differences between the two headsets. And if you notice, a lot of these changes bring high-end technology to the table. For context, the PSVR is priced at around $350, which is already a lot. If you think that is a lot, then the PSVR2 comes at a price of around $550, which is an increase of more than 30%. But the increase is understandable. But is it worth it? Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on the PSVR2, as we love reading your comments down below. But that is all the time we have for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit like on the video. It helps us a ton. And while you are down there, consider subscribing, as it is just left to the like button. Again, thanks for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time on Lit Technology.